currently 7:30 in the morning, and it's already like 11 or 12 degrees, which is awesome. You can see I have some garden cleanup to do. I like to leave it as long as possible for the beneficials and things, you know. I've got some stuff popping up from last year. This is bachelor buttons, and back here we have I think this is Nigella. There's all kinds of that, and I forget what this is right offhand, but I will post it when I remember. And I think back there is Dara. So lots of things coming up. And I thought we'd check on the garden and see what's growing out here. I've started kind of clearing some things, but most things are still covered up. So this is our garlic bed, one of them. And it's kind of funny. There's tulips coming up everywhere. Now, I did plant them at the end of the bed last fall. So I don't know how they got over here. I don't know if there was little like daughter bulbs or something that kind of blew around, or if, you know, some kind animal transplanted them for me. I'm not sure, but there's lots of tulips coming up here too. I need to get this mesh back up. I had a second hoop right here, like that hoop, that got knocked down in the storm we had last fall. So I need to get that back up, but tulips over here coming up as well. Over here I have some shallots coming up. A couple little garlic bulbs from last year. There's some more tulips down here. Different types and kinds, so they should come up at different rates. Some forgotten garlic bulbs over here. This is Orangium. There's a couple plants coming up. Two of them are poking through. I don't see the other two yet, but there's a lot of Rudbeckia in here that came back last year, so I'm hoping we get some over winter this year too. If not, there's some started in the basement. Some leftover onions from last year. I'm going to see if those will grow and go to seed. Maybe I can save the seed. And over here there's some remnant tulips. This is where I had them planted last year, but there's also daffodils that I planted here, and these are the replete ones, so those will be beautiful. Over here we have some ranunculus, and I'm noticing something was digging. So I don't know what that was, but that's not good. And for interest, I have some overwintered ranunculus coming up. So they're just starting to pop up. You can see a couple here. There's a few over there. I had quite a few different varieties here, as well as some anemones. I don't see any sign of any anemones yet, but that's kind of exciting to see some ranunculus. So the ones that I've seen coming up, I do have little tags here. So these are the two amandine, one's salmon, one's marshmallow. And then this one was just labeled a peony mix. So the ones that didn't come up are like the Deccan ranunculus, or at least they're not up yet. So fingers crossed, maybe a few of those will pop up too. But we've got lots more going on, so we're gonna have lots of ranunculus. In this bed, I always plant my sweet peas on this trellis. in the middle there, I planted some asparagus crowns last year. 2 different kinds than what I have in our asparagus bed. And here I tried to overwinter some of the fancy snapdragons, but I've checked a couple times and I don't see any signs of them, so I don't know if that was successful or not, but I have more to print. So this is the strawberry and asparagus bed. It was covered in this straw mulch here, but I like to uncover it, you know, once I know it's warm enough that it's not going to harm anything. I want to, you know, clean out a lot of these runners, clean up the bed, do any weeding that needs to be done, and then I'll mulch it again before too long. So lots of strawberries coming up, perking up. I haven't seen any signs of asparagus yet, but it is only mid-April, so lots of time for those to start coming up yet. Over here, this is kind of a mess of a bed. I've got half of it kind of cleaned out. I've got a little bit more to do on the end here. This is full of perennials right now. These are delphiniums. So from here back is all delphiniums, and in between the rows of delphiniums I threw some garlic last year that I got last spring, and I just left it because it was small in the fall. And so far, other than that one over there, I think these are all still dividing. So that one, see how these are like single stemmed? The one over here, I think the bulb has actually split and each individual clove is sending up new growth. So this one I might dig up and divide, and I think these other ones I'll just leave. We also have yarrow over here, sedum, geum, echinacea. The crows like to pick all of the tags out, so there's not many things actually labeling what was planted where anymore, but hopefully soon. I mean, things are starting, like the yarrow is definitely coming, and you can see the little sedums poking up, but there's a few things I can't quite tell what or where they are yet. So this bed currently has nothing in it except for a few rogue garlics. This was one of the garlic beds last year, and I had a lot of smaller cloves and bulbils planted in it, so those are sometimes easy to miss. You can see a few here and there, but this is going to have the tomatoes in it this year. So I've got hoops here. So in a couple weeks, it's still way too early. We're still 6 weeks out from planting tomatoes, but in a few weeks I'll put plastic on it and start warming up the soil so they have a nice warm bed to go into. This bed here has my walking onions. Half of it is walking onions, and then this half is daffodils. And this is exciting. I see there's lots of blooms coming, and they've been here, I think this is their second or third year. So you can see that they're starting to divide. Like this would have been one bulb, and I'm gonna get like a couple of blooms off of it this year, so that's exciting. It was a mix, so there's a mixture, so some are further along than others because of the different varieties. This is a second garlic bed. So this half of it was planted a couple weeks earlier than that half of it, and you can see a little bit of a difference. I have the mulch removed from this side so it's easier to see, but the other side is a little bit shorter, but they're looking awesome, doing great. A lot less damage on these ones. These were planted in November. The ones over here were planted in October, and you can see they have a little bit of winter damage on some of their tips because they were up and growing faster than those other ones. But all in all, things are looking good. This bed is also a bit of a mismatch. I had a couple of elephant garlics and they came up early and got a little fried, so I think this one will recover for sure. This one I'm a little worried about, but we'll see. There's some garlic planted there from last year. They were bulbils as well. And there's also chives coming up, so these little things are not garlic, those are chives. They kind of self-seeded in this bed. I have a comfrey plant coming up there, some garlic chives, and a couple of chive plants. One of them is traditional purple and one of them is pink. And then this is one of my hascap bushes. We'll save this bed for last. This is where I have a lot of herbs right now and a rose bush that's actually Jared's grandmother's. Okay, now this bed. So the kale in here is starting to grow and look awesome in the middle. I might come out and clean it up a little bit with some of these winter touched leaves, but it's exciting that the saffron crocuses are growing. I'm super stoked for that this fall. I have just a decorative allium here. I planted a few little onion sets here the other day just to kind of compare with my homegrown. They're not up yet. There's sporadic little spinach from last winter over there. This is the seed that we planted a couple weeks ago now, I think. And there are some things starting to germinate. Not everything is up yet, but you can definitely see some things growing, so that's good. That's exciting. And some garlic that I obviously missed. And there's also some bulbs coming up. Those were the discount bulbs we found in late fall. We planted in like December, I think it was. We're pretty close. So there's some crocuses. There's some tulips under the plastic with where I seeded stuff. There's some alliums and I forget what these are. I thought there was muscari in here too. I think these are daffodils. So that's exciting. And that's what we have going on. Oh, that is the garden in mid-April. Things are just really getting started here in Nova Scotia where I am. And in another month, this will be so much different. It'll be exciting to see it over the next month. I will tell you a couple more plans, I guess, that we have. So over here, I've tried to grow squash and pumpkins in these raised cloth beds for a couple years now, and it has not worked out. So I plan on putting an in-ground no-dig section here where they currently are, and that will be where we grow our squash and pumpkins, and hopefully we have a lot more success with that. Over here is where a lot of the cut flowers will be going. This is where I used to have some raised beds located before we moved them over to where they currently are. There's some perennial things here. There's some yarrow. This was Sweet William maybe last year, I can't remember. There's some rudbeckia. Then we have a blank section, and that whole back row, there's nothing planted in it. So cut flowers will go over here. And this is still perennial things. There's blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, things like that planted here that I need to relocate because I would like this whole section to just be cut flowers. So some of the things that are coming up in this side bed over here, like the bachelor's buttons and nigella, things like that, these are all going to get transplanted over into the cut flower section. And this will be where my dahlias go again. So 2 years ago, this is where the dahlias were. When I dug them up that fall, there was some cafe au laits from Walmart that were infected with gall. So this was just annuals last year to give this garden a 1-year break and hopefully the gall bacteria to die off. If you look it up, there's varying literature. You can find everything from 1 year to 4 years that you should not plant in that location again. But we have limited space, so I'm gonna give it a try. Fingers crossed that everything goes well and we don't have any more gall issues. All right, so my nice sunny morning is turning cloudy and windy, but that's okay. Lots of things to do in the house too. Lots of seedlings that need potted up. Everything needs water. There's still a few more things that I need to seed. And yeah, so spring is coming. Or spring is here, summer is coming. So that is the mid-April garden tour. I hope you enjoyed. We'll do it at least monthly. And in the height of summer, maybe a little more frequently. But I hope you enjoyed that little peek. I hope your gardening season is going well so far, and we'll see you next time.